of 6 people, and that's a quorum, which is good for us at the moment. I had a nice conversation today with future rep from Porter, and she will start hopefully in August. She's wicked busy right now, so I said, that's okay, we don't meet for another month. Anyway, so without losing her, but I would like some introductions. So we start, Dave.
David Roberts, Director of Operations.
Thank you.
Do you want to introduce Nicole McTavish, Superintendent and Director? Chris. Yeah.
Oh, I'm Drew from Middlebury Community Television.
And an alumni. We should add that.
Yes.
Thank you.
I didn't know that. That's great.
We just found that out.
I'm Christina Mathon. I'm the Aston Northwest School District Representative.
Steve Parks, Middlebury at large.
Kim Farm, I live in New Haven, and I'm the chairman of the board and representative community engagement piece from Mount Abraham. Thank you.
I'm Cameron Waldorf. I'm the new finance assistant.
Jan Rosignol, Northwest Addison at large.
Michael Giorgio, ACSD.
Austin Haynes, business manager.
Bill Biederman, Middlebury Wib.
Linda Barrett Clerk.
And Judd.
Judd Markowski, resident of Bridport and WIB member.
Thank you. So I need a motion to approve the agenda that's in front of you.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you, Dan. All those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye. Anybody opposed? And the motion carries. And right on cue, another introduction. We'll let you sit. Thanks. Thank you.
Your name plate, so we all know who
There you go. So everyone knows who you are now. But if you just take a minute to introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Laura Harthan, ACSD representative.
Thank you. All right, so I need a motion to approve the May 15th agenda minutes.
So moved.
Dan, I need a second.
Second.
Bud, thank you. Any corrections, things missing? Anybody noticed? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. All right. Public comment. Anybody online, Dave? See anybody?
Oh, what do we, Liz is joining us. I just wanted to give a chance to introduce Cameron a little bit. Is that appropriate to do that now?
He introduced himself and said what he did. I know you were engrossed in what you were doing, but
Can I just say?
yes, go right ahead.
Thank you. So we want to welcome Cameron Waldorf. He's joined us. He just graduated from
Plattsburgh.
Plattsburgh. Finance degree. He's been on the ground for about a month, I think.
Yep.
And things are going great. Great addition to the team. He's in the office behind Austin, so if you guys need anything or if there's around, just please pop in and say hello. But we just wanted to publicly recognize Cameron for joining the team, and we're so excited.
Thank you.
Yay.
Welcome. He hasn't quit, so that's good.
I'll be here.
Thank you.
Made it easy.
Thank you, Cameron.
It's great to meet everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks
very
for
much.
coming.
I'll see much more of you all.
I'm sure.
Congratulations on graduation.
Thank you. Sorry.
Is she on now, Dave?
Yeah, Liz is on. Liz, are you on?
Hi, Liz. Did you take a minute to introduce yourself, just so everybody knows where you're coming from?
Absolutely. My name is Liz Sayre, and I'm from Bristol, and I'm a representative from the Mount Abraham Unified School District.
Thanks for joining us, Liz. Consent agenda. Do we want to, do we need any conversation about any of these items at this point in time? Seeing none, I need a motion.
Move to accept the consent agenda.
Thanks.
Second.
A second from Bill Whitterman, okay. All those in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. Thank you.
Aye.
Okay. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Okay, and if you turn over your agenda, you'll see it's quite lengthy. We have accept the resignation of Julie Clark. I need a motion to do that.
So moved.
Thank you, John.
Sorry to hear it, but
Yep. And,
Second.
okay, thank you. Mike, thank you. Alrighty, all those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye. Aye. Thank you. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Action items. This is the part of the agenda that is the Dave Roberts show. And he said he's ready because he's gonna drive to Albany after this. To go to Florida, of all places.
In the summer.
In the summer.
Oh, it's like 110 degrees now.
I was gonna say, it's not humid
He
enough
doesn't
here.
care. He does not.
Every minute.
So we have an as report for 2.4 financial planning and budgeting.
That one's me, and
Okay.
David, feel free to chime in with any color commentary. This is a quarterly policy we look at, and it dovetails with 2.3, which is another quarterly policy that follows. Essentially, this details our internal controls and procedures in the business office, so it talks about how revenue and expenditures and cash is accounted for. We have a methodology for tracking capital expenditures, using separate bank accounts for different funds, such as enterprise, general fund, student activities. And it mentions how we, in a downturn, we use our line of credit to float operating expenses and payroll. We mentioned in the last board meeting that we paid down the line of credit in full in January. And then there is a mention at the very end of the report about our audit, and just last night we received a preliminary draft from our auditors. So I'm happy to report good progress on that front, and we have a draft in hand. So that feels good. There's been a lot of hard work to get to this point, and a lot of thanks to David for driving the capital asset reporting and tracking part of that. That's generally the policy. Are there any questions about any particular items in the report?
Seeing none.
I have one quick
Go ahead.
question. Will the
Okay.
auditor come to the August meeting or to?
Yeah, I think
present to the
so.
board?
So again, they
Ready?
just provided the draft last night.
Yes.
It's hot off the press. We haven't gone through the details. So I think once we get to the point of accepting and signing off on the audit, we can certainly have them show up and present their findings like they've done in the past. And so it's your preference to have them at August, or?
If they're ready.
Yeah,
Probably as soon as you're ready.
great. Yeah, that's a great suggestion.
Bill?
Yeah, I just had a quick report. With everything changing nationally, I know we've got enough stuff changing in Vermont. Is there anything we have to worry about for financial planning and budgeting?
With things changing,
Any monies were promised that we may not get?
no, I mean, I think, as far as I know, we're still going, we've gotten all our grants, our federal grants, the cash has come in, our Perkins grants come in, so we're rolling right along.
And none of those are gonna have clawbacks?
They're not getting their money back. I mean,
Got the money.
they asked for it, but, we're gonna work with them, but no.
I think to sort of answer the question for next year, one unknown is, like Perkins, for example, is a federal grant that we receive every year. The amount has slightly changed for next year, but it's unclear as far as beyond the next few months if they will increase the allocation or if we have a fixed amount as of now. So that's,
So you're saying 25, 26, it may change a little bit, but not much.
the allocation has dropped a little bit, but not substantially, and not to the tune of completely eliminating the funding that we might have expected, but.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have anything to add on that, Nicole.
We don't have any indication at this point that the Perkins would go away. The only wrinkle in the plan that we know about right now is there is some indication that they might be moving the Perkins funding from the Department of Education to the Department of Labor, which may or may not affect the amount, but certainly might create a a timeline issue because it would be a little chaotic and may delay the payment. But I'll keep the board apprised as we hear more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Actually, can I have one more? I have one more audit question. So
Okay.
are you guys starting to work on the current year's audit yet?
Yeah, once we finalize fiscal year 24, we'll
Yep.
shift into the pre-audit and getting going on fiscal year 25. For better or worse, we're on track timing wise for that. We had a delayed start to the last audit, but
Okay,
fingers crossed. I mean, in a
That should be
typical
more
year,
timely.
we're done in the late fall,
right.
early winter at the latest in an audit cycle, so I think thankfully now that this is behind us, we can shift gears and focus on FY 25, which will feel good.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we need to have an action on that. So I need a motion to accept that.
So moved.
Dan, second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of accepting the annual report for 2.4 financial planning and budgeting, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Okay, anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. As report, 2.8 communication and support of the board. I believe there's something in your packet. Nicole, you want to speak to it? Go ahead.
Certainly. This is the superintendent's report where I attest to you that I do not allow you to be uninformed or unsupported in your work. So the report goes on to detail how I inform you and support you in your work. I do want to point out that there was on 2.8.2, you might remember that I did ask for an exception to policy in order to offer the assistant superintendent a 3-year contract, which is a violation of the ends report, which is why I had to ask for an exception to policy, which you granted. But everything else is compliant. And I am happy to report that I believe I am compliant with supporting you and communicating with you.
Any questions? Again, it's in your packet if you have a question. We also need a motion for that. Thank
I'll
you.
make that, oh, sorry. Didn't see you
Sorry.
raise your hand. I'll
We
second
have
it.
Mike make the motion, Christina second, and please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
In favor of the motion, thank you. Anybody opposing? Seeing none, motion carries. Thank you. State Board Rules and Perkins.
So, the question is, or the policy is that we periodically evaluate the success of the center in serving all parts of its service region and offering useful adult training and programs. So, I highlighted really that our main way to plug into the community and workforce is our advisory meetings. We have required to have one each semester. They're actually warned. This year is new that they're warned. The instructors, the program leads really do a lot of really hard work to get the right people on their boards that help them influence. And it's a great sounding board for them, and it gives them a chance to tell us what's happening and what we need to focus on, what technologies. We also do, as required by Perkins, a CLNA, which is a comprehensive local needs assessment. This was done in 2024, very detailed. And so that lays out some of the things that we have to focus on. Things like improving programs, improving our diversity, equity in classes, and those kind of things. And so it's quite a bit we do to make sure this happens.
You need a motion for that, Dave? Or just stay, yeah, okay, thank you. Motion, folks.
Move to accept.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Seconded, Dan. Any questions from anybody? Seeing none, raise your hand or say aye. Do you agree with it?
Aye.
Thank you. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Pausing of engineering program for FY 2025 through 2026. You want to speak to that?
The board may recall that we paused the engineering program due to lack of enrollment for this school year, 24-25, in the hopes that we might gain enough enrollment in the 25-26 school year. And we did run the course in the registration process of all of our sending schools. Unfortunately, we did not get enough enrollment to run the program again. I asked AOE if we were required at this point to close the program or if we could pause it for one additional year, and we are allowed to pause it for one additional year. Should there be any opening for us to go forward with the program, it would certainly be a lot less work if we just had it on pause rather than have it completely canceled. So at this time, I'm asking the board to pause it for one additional year.
Entertain a motion to do that?
I move that we allow Nicole to pause the program for one additional year.
Second.
And second. Any other questions from anybody? Dan?
Is there something is this considered a very valuable program going into its demise, its quote unquote demise here? I'm wondering, I realize there were issues with the way the instructor or the way it was being taught. Do you have a plan to pull out of that or morph it to, I guess what I'm asking, is it valuable enough to keep on the books? And does it fit the needs going forward? And if it does, why is enrollment so poor?
All good questions. So for the engineering, previously it's been the engineering and architecture program. Often these programs are organized largely around the skill set of the particular instructor. The engineering students, however, are had previously largely been from Middlebury and largely been sort of many of their top students. Many of those students are now involved in the International Baccalaureate program, and the scheduling between what are required for those programs and trying to fit in half a day for a full year makes it pretty challenging. We also just have been so lucky to attract Dan Ahrensmeyer to our school, who has taken on the advanced manufacturing program and has an engineering background. So what we are probably going to do, because engineering is a critical industry, high wage, high skill, high demand, is much of the engineering curriculum will be happening in the advanced technology, in the advanced manufacturing classroom. So all the 4 students that we did have sign up for engineering, Mr. Ahrensmeyer called personally and talked to, and several of them have now joined the manufacturing program.
Okay.
So our path forward is likely to be to continue to enhance the engineering portion of the advanced manufacturing program, and it's unlikely that the engineering program will continue. My only hesitation in shutting it at this point is just so much unknown about the future. And should these new districts that get formed have a much larger footprint, our surface area if our surface area becomes much bigger, we may have the opportunity to actually have a standalone engineering program. So that's why I'm reluctant at this time to close it.
Okay, good answer, thank you.
How many students do we need to fill a program?
8 is considered adequate.
Okay, so we're at 50%.
Yes.
Christine?
Nicole, do you think that students aren't signing up because there's no instructor? Right?
There could be, right?
How do you sign up for a program when you don't know anything about it or the teacher, right?
Right. It certainly could be. Many of the programs, lots of kids do sign up because of teachers.
Right.
And this particular program has had a change in teacher over several times over the last few years, so there is that.
Yeah. Because it was a super strong program, for a long time. So
and depending on what we think we're going to have for a service region in the future, Dan could certainly teach both a standalone engineering class and a standalone advanced manufacturing class, which would be what we would hope,
Yeah.
right? That would be our goal.
Okay.
And then we could do the STEM pre-tech in many different ways. So that's again why we're kind of holding on to the engineering
Okay.
program for one more year.
Just to kind of reiterate, I mean, the IB program really screwed up the Career Center stuff for Middlebury students.
That's what I understand, yeah.
So, you know, I think that, you know, it really does, it takes the top 20% of that school and just puts them in a situation where they just, they can't get out of stuff.
30-minute day difference too.
Is that how large the program is?
The IB program.
Number of students at the high school?
The whole school participates in IB, but there is a diploma program for the students who would otherwise be doing lots of advanced placement and other things like that. That's now called sort of a diploma program. So those students are really rigorous academics in their senior and junior years.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we need a vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Mr. Dave, van approval and van disposal.
Okay, so just one thing, I just realized that you guys got the wrong memo, so I've got it on the board. It's the same thing, but so we're disposing of, we'll talk about disposing of the van and equipment. We're disposing of two things. A van that's old, a blue van, and we're estimating that it's a value of $1,600. We're going to either sell it or scrap it depending on the best method. And then we have a resaw attachment which came with the portable sawmill that we bought, and we don't need it, and it's sitting there, and it's someone is interested in buying it, so we're gonna sell it. Both of these were most likely bought with federal dollars way back when. So I just decided to be cautious and look at what we need to do to dispose of those. And the new memo that you didn't get is what this is. So Uniform Guidance CFR 200-313 requires that if we dispose of anything more than $5,000, that we have to go through some things. These are both small, they're less than $5,000. We don't need to do anything other than just put this memo in the file. So that's what I'm going to do. This memo documents the federal procedures and what we did in that we comply with.
Questions? Bill?
Do we also have a process for how we actually sell those things?
Well, one thing is already sold, but I mean, typically we just put it on front porch forum. If it's something that's used in the classroom, like this is such a random thing that we're not, but we usually offer it to career centers, the other career centers before.
Thank you.
Any more questions? I need a motion to make this happen.
I move that we allow the disposal and acquisition, or this is just the disposal?
Just disposal.
It's just the disposal of the resaw and the van.
Second?
Second.
Bill? Thank you. Any other additional questions? Seeing none, raise your hand if you would like this to happen, or say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries.
So the next part is the van approval. So it's not van, it's buses. I don't know why in my head, every time I say van, I'm in bus. So I apologize for that. The goal is for us to buy two 14-passenger buses and or activity vans. I say or because we're still working on what the law requires. We think we're gonna buy the yellow buses because it's safer, they're a little bit more expensive, but we have the option, we're looking at either one or both. Remember when we looked at the budget, when we did the budget, you guys voted on the budget, I added some financing in. And I tried to explain a little bit of that down here. So, how we're gonna pay for this, this is what I wanna go over. Buses are about, $120 each, $120,000. So, if we purchase a bus and lease it, it costs us about $49,000 a year. That's the second line there. And we have our last loan payment for North Campus of $109,000. So, this FY26 debt service budget is $158,000. That's what we budgeted. So the $49,000 that's gonna cost us for the first year of these vans is in the budget. This year it's 112, FY26 we've got 158. Now how do we keep paying for this? The last payment, the bond payment for North Campus is $109,000. So that rolls off next year. So if we continue with the 6 years of bus payments, we'll have a $49,000 debt service for FY27. The other thing that's on the docket here for FY28 is we've talked about doing $400,000 of renovations at North Campus, which is also in the budget. That is over a 10-year period, and so that adds another $48,000. So our total debt service for FY27 is going to be $97,000. So what I'm saying is for FY25 we're at $112,000. For FY26 we budgeted $158,000. And then for going forward, FY27 going forward, we'll have about $97,000 of debt service, principal and interest. So that's how it's in the budget to pay for, and I'm excited because we really need these buses, short buses. And I think it's an important thing for us for our school and for the students, and I'm just happy that we can do it if you guys agree.
Have you, I know that, however, the way to get buses from Betcha Transit to make this happen, it also has its own expenses. Have you weighed those expenses against that $49,000?
Yeah, so just for Aaron Townsend's natural resource management class, they go to the Sugar House and other places about 40 times a year. At about $600 a pop, because he's a large class, it's $25,000-$30,000, right?
One class.
One class. And he does that a lot, and that's a part of his curriculum. That's not a field trip, that's a part of his class. We have other classes that do other things. Kelly's class, our Anna Jo's class, Sustainable Ag, goes to a lot of different farms. If we calculated how many if we didn't have any buses, how many we'd rent, and it was about $200,000 that we would spend on Betcha buses. It was a lot of money. So it's very clear that buying and or leasing is better.
Great.
The other part of this conversation is because this is over $40,000, it's not a micro purchase, I have to do an RFP, right? And I also have to do an analysis of whether it's better to lease or buy. So I'm going to be doing that process within the RFP. What I'm asking for is for approval to formally do an RFP, make that selection, and buy the buses. And the reason I'm saying I need all that tonight is because you guys aren't meeting in August, and I need the buses here by August 15th-ish. Yeah, that's what I'm asking is authorization to initiate a formal request for proposal process, purchase 2 buses, total estimated cost of $250,000. To review and respond to the responses and to arrange financing. It's a lot.
You might speak to the buses that are having to go out of service too.
So we have bus 86, which is,
Aptly named.
Great name.
well, it's about to be 86 because it's not gonna pass its inspection this year. So, and it's gonna cost a significant amount of money to get it to pass inspection, so it's gonna be most likely scrapped. We have bus number 3, which is a short bus. It's fine, we're gonna keep it, it's fine, it's old, but we're gonna keep it. So we're really gonna have, if we do this, we'll have 3 short buses and 2 vans. And the 3 buses is really, we got a team together to talk through, and 3 buses is really what we need. Based on the number of classes and stuff.
Now, the money that you're talking about, we have it, but you're just arranging financing.
Well, I don't have $250,000 to go out and buy a bus for cash.
I understand that, but I'm just saying you have money in the account for the 48,000 a year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's a part of that's a part of our $5.7 million budget that was voted. There's a line item for that interest.
Is it worth explaining, David, we lost a couple of buses or vehicles last year as well due to aging out and scrapping? I don't know the full details, but this is sort of getting back to where we were before with those vehicles as well.
We sold a bus at auction in July, and we just sold another bus earlier in the year because they didn't pass inspection. And Auto looked at them and they just weren't going to pass it.
Why buses instead of vans?
Well, because we have a lot of classes. Vans can only take 4 kids, 4 students. These short buses can take 14. So most of our classes can go on one short bus, and then some of them will need to take a short bus plus a van to get to where we need to go.
By van, I meant like a big, like a 9 or, aren't there 15 passenger vans?
So we're, any bus from 11 to 15 passengers requires a type 2 bus endorsements and a CDL. Anything bigger than that requires the full CDL, which is pretty tough. So what we're basically doing is trying to maximize the size, but yet keeping the type 2, because we're all gonna get type 2. Like we're doing a professional development for most everybody to get their type 2 license, so that we can all get on the bus and drive if we need to. So that's really it. It's just to maximize the size without having to go to the next level of license.
Liz has a question too.
Yes, Liz.
Sorry, Liz.
I'm wondering, my understanding is that there's a few students that we support getting to and from school. And I was wondering if these buses could also be used to bring in kiddos from another school building. Like one of the ones that has the overflow, kiddos that can't get into their other, right? The emails about how some career centers are overflowing. Could these buses also be utilized to bring kids from more schools than Audi and Bridges?
So, I just realized that Steve just joined. So I'm just going to move him to panelist so he can speak. So there is an opportunity for us to bring other students from other schools, and I think we would need to do that transportation, and these buses would be used for that transportation. We mostly shuttle folks back and forth between Maine and North. We don't do a lot of bringing students to the high schools unless there's a special thing. So I really feel like it's not something that we do a lot now, but there is as we grow and change over the next couple of years, there's an opportunity for us to do that, which is another reason why we're gonna probably go with the yellow bus.
Does that answer your question, Liz? Thank you.
So Steve, I saw you had your chance, can you hear us? he is here.
How about that? Did that unmute me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, great. It was a little while earlier in the conversation, you were talking about betcha and leasing versus owning. Just a warning about anything with betcha. Once they have you and have a contract on you, and I call it on you, not with you, they really screwed ACSB by totally shooting up the price by millions of dollars. And we were over a barrel because we no longer had access to funds. So if we have a preference, I would prefer to purchase. And so this is a statement about bringing kids in from, like, say, Rutland. Doesn't Perkins and Nutty, don't they pay for the transportation to get to the center? And so wouldn't Rutland have to do that as well? Or is that on our books? Because I think it's on their books.
I don't think it's a decision that's been made yet.
Right.
Brand new territory.
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Whether that happens or not, we would still want these two buses.
Okay. Any other questions? Christine?
David, can you explain the RFP process to us? Do you have to get a minimum amount of bids? Does it have to be, who decides, who, do you have to do it through?
I'm still learning about it. I'll preface it by that, but it is a public, we would publish it, we have to do at least 3.
Yep.
There's a certain amount of time.
Yep.
And as long as we have an evaluation process that we follow across the 3, it's fine. So in that process of developing the RFP, I'm going to develop a process.
Yeah, okay. Because when we do it in our school district, there's a certain amount of board members that have to attend the bid opening and all that stuff, so, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the challenge with not having the board. I'm happy to reach out to folks that want to come on a committee. I mean, maybe that's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
But what I'm hoping is that we can be authorized to do what we need to do before the next board meeting, which is in August.
Is it not in statute that you have to do it a certain way though, or no?
It is.
Okay.
Yes. But I'm just trying to get the approvals tonight before, so that we can just get that process.
Get it going, okay.
Any other questions?
I mean, we could call a special board meeting if that's.
Well, if it comes down to you needing a timely decision, right?
Yeah.
Sure, you might have to.
And I mean, we might be able to use an existing committee to pass that through too if we need to, right? I mean, if you only need 3 board members of facilities.
Yeah, it only has to be like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I can't remember the number, but
I think we should
I've
be
done
okay.
this a bunch of times.
So could the motion be that this body authorizes the board member, the to be determined board members who are going to be on that committee to act on behalf of the board?
I just said it.
It's representatives of the board, correct. I don't have a problem with that. Anybody else?
No.
No. If you need that wording changed due to whatever process you're gonna go through, just let us know. I mean, we can do that. I think that is approval. So we need a motion to purchase the 2
I'll make that
buses, 14 passenger buses.
I'm in second.
Do you want to read the motion? Because somebody needs to do that.
Do you want me to read it?
That'd be helpful, thank you.
Motion to authorize the initiation of an RFP to purchase 2 14-passenger short buses with a total estimated cost of $250,000. This includes issuing a formal RFP, reviewing responses with a board committee, and arranging financing for that.
Mike, motion? Second? Bill? Any other questions?
So that motion doesn't actually give you permission to make the purchase, correct? The board still has to approve the purchase. I'm sorry to
No,
say.
I think number 3 gives you that
Does it?
That's what I was trying to do.
Okay, that's
Three, I
because,
think three does
I
that.
would like to do that. I mean, obviously, I
Okay.
think I would like the board to designate the board members who's gonna be on the committee to authorize that.
okay, did that motion actually say and go ahead and
It
make
says
the
arrange
purchase?
financing.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't say purchases,
Let's
it's
amend
arrange.
that motion to say purchase
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm
finance.
trying to get at, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So it's crystal clear, you're gonna purchase it.
We're purchasing.
Linda, you okay with that? Thank you. All right, and we have a motion, and we have a second. Any other questions? Seeing none, raise your hand or say aye. If you have a
Aye.
motion. Online, we have 2. All right, anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a monumental thing for us, this school, and I love it. Thank you. We're gonna get more monumental.
Board resolutions for M&T.
Yes, so we have had an M&T account, we still have a scholarship account, the Rogers Scholarship has $400,000 in it that we manage for ACSD. We have a credit card there, and Austin's the only one on the account. So we don't need a board resolution to change all of that, but we felt like it's better to do a board resolution internal. So that's just to add Nicole, myself, and Cameron to the account, so that we can have access, reconcile, and those kind of things.
So we're gonna keep that account at M&T even though we moved everything else to.
I think so, they're giving us really good CD rate. It's something that is in the back burner, we need to look at that, manage that money a little bit better. But for now, it's there and it's earning a good CD interest rate.
The other thing it does is it gives us options. We have a great partnership with the Bank of Middlebury, but it's just, to put all of your eggs in one basket can be sometimes a challenge, and when you need competitive rates, it's good to have options.
Need a motion to do that?
So moved.
Seconded.
Are we clear what the motion is?
To authorize Austin Haynes, business manager, to update the account access and signing authorities associated with the PAHCC's accounts with the M&T Bank. They're requesting that the following individuals be granted account access to view balances, download statements, and support financial operations: Dr. McTavish, David Roberts, and Cameron Waldorf.
And 2.
Oh, sorry, and 2, the McTavish, the superintendent, and David Roberts, director of operations, be added as authorized check signers on behalf of the Career Center.
We have motions from Judge, a second?
Second.
You all set, Linda, with that? Thank you. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Or say aye. Aye. Thank you. Anybody opposed? Seeing no opposition, motion carries. Thank you. Second reading of B20. Who would like to talk to that?
Steve is here, I don't know if he wants to, or?
So, as far as, second reading, this is all material that you've seen already. It was not necessary for the policy committee to continue to review that. This was just an opportunity to say, if you had any objections or questions before we adopt these policies. And I think those are the only ones that are on the agenda. There are no new ones, this month because we were not able to achieve a quorum in the policy. So, everything that you see here should have been seen before, and now would be the time to bring up questions. And there are various people handling. I don't have my material with me. I didn't take that to the beach with me. So, as far as my policies, D20, wait, I think D21 we took off already. Yeah, I can speak to those. But as far as the other ones, there are other members of the policy committee that will be here to speak.
So B20 should be in your packet, it's in front of you. Any questions about it?
So we need to decide if we want to put that optional piece into this policy or not, that's highlighted in blue.
Okay.
Which reads, the Patricia A. Hannaford Career Center School District will ensure that employees receive training in non-discrimination, bias, and anti-racism.
We currently do not do that.
Was that a recommendation from anybody?
VSBA has presented this as an option, so probably they do it optional because some school districts, I'm guessing, don't do this training and some school districts do.
Any questions? So the motion is to accept this B20 with the option, yes or no? Is that what I'm hearing?
I think it's a discussion by the board whether or not they want the option or not, and then we make the motion, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Good question.
Is there anything readily available? Can I ask?
Go ahead.
Is there anything readily available to do this training, like an online hour or something like that, or is this going to invoke a large process to be developed?
This kind of, the PD that we do in this genre currently is directly aligned with the requirements of the Perkins and our CLNA. So it's generally about having a welcoming environment so that you can have non-traditional students in your classroom, boys and things that girls generally take and girls and things that boys generally take, that you can have a diverse classroom, that your demographics as closely as possible match your actual where you live, that sort of thing. The PD which we have done to date, I don't think would fit well in this category. Obviously, the non-discrimination is something that we do as part of the harassment, hazing, and bullying, and so I think some of that actually probably does take place. We don't currently focus on bias or anti-racism here at the Career Center.
Questions? Conversation?
How much of a lift do you anticipate it being to add that in?
So we have about 4 or 5 days with staff where we can do professional development. And we have a number of things which are required because of the Perkins and CLNA process. We also have a new set of quality standards that are coming out. All of you on the regular school boards, you're seeing this, and your school boards, we have the same thing for CTE. So we have most of our professional development already sketched out for next school year around those education quality standards. I feel that this is really important work. I also know how many hours we literally have. And I think that's the question really, is the number of hours in the day.
Bill?
Is it something you would do in-house? Does it cost us anything?
Usually this kind of work, you partner with an organization or a group, just because it becomes problematic when a very homogeneous group of people are trying to talk about a group or cultures or biases or racist behaviors about a group that isn't even represented in the same faculty, right? So generally you try to partner with a more inclusive organization that can help with that journey.
It's your pleasure.
I mean, it's tricky. It seems really not great to not include it, honestly, because of many, many reasons. But I understand what you're saying in terms of how do you implement it. And it's not great to have something that you can't implement, but maybe we start here and work on an implementation plan over the next year. I don't know.
And then include it after it's...
That's an option too, right? We could know that this is on the plate and we want to work towards it, so then we can amend the policy down the road.
Is there an overlap between this and the Perkins training that you have? I mean, it's an unfunded mandate is what we're trying to invoke here, which I'm kind of thinking we just don't have that kind of stuff. So.
Right, you know, I struggle, I think, in the same way that Christine is described. It would seem counterintuitive that we wouldn't speak to this. It is also a fact that we don't have this, I would say, expertise in-house. And I think as long as, if the board had an understanding that this was going to be a journey and not a one-year process, then I think we all go in with wide eyes and know that. It is, I think there's lots of overlap with the anti-discrimination work because we work very hard on making everybody feel welcome in every classroom here. And for every reason. So I think this is, the reason that it's optional is because different communities have different feelings about this. And the board is here to represent the community that you come from. Because the reason that we have elected school boards, right, is to represent the thoughts and feelings and concerns of the parents and community to this organization as we do our work. So this isn't really a question for the practitioners. This really is a truly board decision as you represent your communities and what they believe to be a priority, right? This is one of the very pure board decisions, I think, that has come through here.
Steve Solomon.
I would speak in support of adding the option. As you said, it doesn't have to be something that we necessarily have everything ready to go, and can be aspirational, but I think it's a good aspiration. And I also think that if we are working towards increasing diversity at the Career Center, which has historically been something of an issue, that the work that we do around this helps in that regard. We are drawing from a population that is primarily, white, and our biggest thing that we deal with is poverty when we're looking at minority groups. But it doesn't mean that those other minority groups don't exist. And as you say, our entire staff is white, and not Hispanic yet. So I think it doesn't hurt. And I think it's worth the effort. In my personal opinion, and how I'll be voting, is to include the option. So that's just what I want to say.
Thank you.
If we include the option, can we, as Krista said, can we look at it as a one-year implementation / training and do it that way?
Generally, when you implement something of this nature, the board would have the superintendent come back to you with a plan, right? And so we would meet as a leadership team and figure out what the plan was for this.
Any other questions? No straw poll, if that's okay. How do you feel about adding it? In favor?
In support of adding it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody feeling they want to talk about it a little bit more and, no?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, go ahead, Jeff.
I move that we adopt the changes in policy B20 personnel recruitment, and we include the optional language that the PAHCC will ensure that employees receive training in non-discrimination, bias, and anti-racism as we go forward.
I'll second that.
That's the second. Any other questions? Seeing none? All those in favor of that motion, please raise your hand or say aye.
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 Thank you. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Thank you.
The rest should be pretty easy.
Reading policy, actually for approval, D24, which is in your packet.
I will make a motion to approve the policy D24 on special education.
Second.
Any changes, things that we need to highlight that are different than what we had? I asked the committee.
This is a policy we don't have.
Okay, thank you. That clarification. Any questions from anybody? Seeing none, the motion's out there. If you are in favor, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries for D24. Next, F24. In your packet, prevention of conflict of interest and procurement. Do we have this already, or is this?
This is a second read, right? Yes. I believe, I remember.
It's a second read,
We
so.
discussed the
Yeah.
limit, $200 value was more or less agreed upon. It's something that would include a check or something like that from one of the vendors.
Anything else added or subtracted from it original? No. So I need a motion to,
I thought we already put something in like this.
We
This
just
is-
talked about it.
this is the second reading.
Do we need to, in 3, do we need to include a number?
Yeah, $200.
200.
Mine doesn't.
Nobody's done.
Is it in the minutes? Let me just look at minutes up from last time.
On the first one.
200 million was definitely.
No, I thought I was remembering 40,000 for some reason.
It says 200, line 3 should read 200. $200, not 200,000.
200 million.
Last time
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Any other questions about the motion? Seeing none? All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries for F24. Excuse me? I'm Judd. And Christina, seconded.
I thought I did.
I didn't second it, yeah, I think you did.
Okay, thank you. It was a while ago.
That's okay.
I'm trying to keep it moving here. I got the word before the meeting. D20. Curriculum and Development Coordination. Anybody want to speak to that from that committee? Any changes that are jumping out at us?
Yeah, I don't know who did that one. Christina, did you do that one?
She's reading. So I need a motion to accept the curriculum development coordination in D20.
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Dan? Alright, and obviously there's no discussion. It looks pretty right in your face.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of accepting that? Motion of D20, please say aye or raise your hand. Way to go, keep it going. Steve, do you have a question still or you're good? Okay, you're good.
No, I was raising my hand to vote in favor.
Thank you. All right,
I was
anybody?
just gonna clarify that we have 2 conflict of interest, and that was the procurement one, so I think what Bill is remembering is the other conflict of interest one. But this is in procurement, so it's, you know, there was a lot of discussion about whether we were double covering this, but we felt that in the interest of thoroughness, that this was that was a good one to pass. The one about conflict of interest, not these.
Thank you for clarifying that. So we have a vote of approval. Any objections to this? Seeing none, motion carries. Thank you. In number 11, change capital assets threshold from 5,000 to 10,000. Who would like to speak to that? Mr. Dave or Mr. Armstrong?
It's just an industry standard that most schools are going to 10,000. What this means is if you buy something for $4,000, it's an expense. It just goes, it's expense and we don't have to track it. If it's more than 5,000 currently, we have to put it on a list, the auditors track it, we have to depreciate it, and it just becomes a lot. And so most folks and the auditors are suggesting that we go to 10,000 so that we're not doing as much of this. doesn't make a huge deal for us because we are a nonprofit, we don't pay taxes anyway, but if we were a tax-paying organization, it would mean that we would expense it quicker and pay less taxes, et cetera. None of that really matters to us, so I recommend that we change it to project payment.
Need a motion?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Second. Don't think Steve has a question. It's hard to see. Anyway, any questions? Steve?
The yellow hand is in line with the yellow background.
Thank you.
Sorry. Could you give us an idea of, you said, right now, we're at 5,000, if we increase it to 10,000, how many transactions, just a rough estimate, not a count, fall into that 5,000 to 10,000 range that we're now having to do the extra paperwork? How much is this gonna save you?
That's a hard one to quantify. I mean, certainly, I would say we are probably buying over half a dozen things or even a dozen things. And this kind of includes, you know, some of the building improvements that we do. And so if we're, you know, so I feel like it's a dozen, it doesn't make a huge difference, but it is consistent with the industry.
Yeah, I would add too, on the audit side of things, it's just less tracking and it's less work because we have to maintain a fixed asset list with them. If it's less than 10 grand, we just write it off. So if we buy a bunch of computers or smaller pieces of equipment that add up in value, we can just expense it rather than having to track it and depreciate it over X number of years. So it increases efficiency and less burden for having to track those sorts of purchases.
And it sounds like the auditor recommended it, so it's not, and they, if they were concerned, they would not recommend that.
And uniform guidance from the state, it's also it's a new proposal for this year statewide that other school districts, most other school districts adopt this. It's just a formal process we have to go through.
Need a motion?
You have a motion.
Yeah. Who okayed it? I'm losing it.
Joe made a motion,
Thank you.
David seconded.
Thank you. Those all in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
That part I can do.
Aye.
Thank you. Anybody opposed? Seeing none, thank you for that recommendation. And it passes unanimously. Change time for Facilities Committee meeting for June to June 25th at 9.
Sorry.
Those meetings get warned, and usually ahead of time, so if there is a change, we kind of have to go through this. Anyway, just for anybody's information, why it's even on there, but anyway.
Anyway, I just want to say that we had made that agreement at the meeting, but we had said 8, so we had to do it at 9 because of Dave and Alan, so just the time is different, so if you're on the committee, please remember that.
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Clarification. Good. Go ahead, Dave.
I'm not really sure we need to have the meeting, only because we're doing a lot of the kind of the facility stuff in this. We're having that meeting now, so I'm happy to wait until August to kick that back up. I just thought I'd throw it out there, it's up to you guys.
Fine, if that's your professional recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, we were doing it based on what we had talked about, so I'm fine with that if you're okay with it.
I'm good with that, yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Normally, that's the procedural piece when there's things coming down the pike. Just for some of the newer members, that's what we normally do. It goes to facilities and then it comes here. So just for clarification. Anyway, so we don't need to do anything with that.
Just one more meeting.
Thank you. So number 13, equipment purchase over 40,000.
Okay, so this is kind of a large conversation, a little bit of the same with the buses. If you guys want to just turn over to the spreadsheet, I would like to walk you through that. So as we know, we have a BERF fund, Building Equipment Reserve Fund. And we have some money left over from the bond, the 8.1 $1.1 million bond.
Mm-hmm.
We're, as a school, we haven't bought a lot of equipment really in the last several years. We also feel that this money might, we should maybe spend this money now, given the transitions. So here's what we're proposing. So the current Murph balance is at $67,000. You guys may remember a couple of years ago, you allocated $175,000 to the Murph. We have not moved that money, but we will move that money.
From fiscal year 21 fund balance, I think.
Yeah. And then we have $22,000 in cash on our bond, but we also got a $97,000 rebate from all of the energy. So that, and then we're applying, part of our Perkins grant, which we will get, is a $21,000 equipment. And then I just submitted a grant to the state for a $60,000 time grant to ask for the tractor. So I look at this as the source of our funds. This is the cash that we have available. Caveat that $60,000 is not guaranteed. Last year we got $54,000 to buy tire alignment balancing system. So I met with a whole host of folks and Nicole, and we've been making wish lists for a while. And so here's kind of the list of the things that we think are the highest priority. Vape detectors, we have 8 bathrooms, 3 at North here, 5 at here. It's an issue. And ACSD has them, so now they come here, right? It's distracting. I'm chasing people around at North Campus a lot. So that's 15 grand. Computers, as you may know, we're across the hall. We are turning that lab into more of a flex space. The computers are outdated, so we are hoping to buy some new computers for that lab. It'll be 12 laptops in a cart that'll be checked out, and that space will be more of a flex space, and then some additional computers for some of the aging computers. North Campus Pole Barn, if we buy all this equipment, we need a place to put it. There's been a process that started, actually already started, and there's a Act 250 process that's already been going. So it's on here, and what we would really need is, we want a place to park the new tractor if we get it, and the new skid steer. Summer remodel, we're doing a lot of remodeling this summer, mainly the construction lab, with some floor issues that we're having a contractor come in and fix. We are having the space cleaned, it's full of dust, it hasn't been cleaned in probably 20 or 30 years. And we're redoing the dust collection system. On top of that, we're doing a bunch of painting and all that, and all of that's costing about $37,000. Furniture, we are kind of continuing on replacing some of the really old furniture, broken furniture. Medical Professions, Lisa Rader, North Campus, Aaron's Classroom, some auto, and the Learning Lab. Teleconference equipment, I think you guys have seen the lovely teleconference equipment that we have in this room, and I think it needs an upgrade. And if we're doing the Learning Lab next door, we want to outfit both so that we have 2 conference rooms. And I think that's a great thing for us. It's a great thing for the classes and the students, but it's also a great thing for the community because ACSD comes and it just opens up another space for us. And then we get to some of the more fun stuff. Dave Mills and the Diesel, they're looking for and have been wanting a training engine. It's an diesel engine on a cart. You can take it apart and diagnose it and put it back together, and it's got some cool learning tools and comes with software and etc. Auto, we've been needing, our lift is broken, and now that we have a brand new alignment and balancer, it doesn't work great because the lift moves. So it's just another kind of moving down the road of replacing those things. Kitchen equipment, we have a dime dishwasher, which is $20,000. And there are other few things in that room. Sustainable ag, the tractor. So our tractor is 20 years old. It's starting to break down. It doesn't have some of the new technology. Dave Mills can talk all day long about why this is not the greatest tractor. And by the way, that's a net amount. That would be the tractor minus trade-in. The tractor and the equipment is about $72,000. A skid steer is for natural resource. We have one that's old, it's breaking down, and again, we want to take this opportunity to replace that, and that's also net of trading value. Design and illustration, we spend a lot of money on color and copying, and Lisa's Raiders class does a lot of that, so we're hoping to isolate that, a very nice printer into her room, so, and also that the copying and the color copying that she's doing is more trackable for her program. And so this printer would be a lease. And it's a pretty significant trend. It's industry standard for like 802 print and those kind of things. And then welding, it's a saw that you use to cut metal. Right now, Dylan is putting his metal in the truck, driving to Stafford, and paying them to cut it up for him. So that's another one. And that one's we're specifically asking for Perkins money to fund because Perkins is funding the welding program. So that's it. This is an estimate. Obviously, I don't know the exact amounts. If we don't get the 60,000 time grant, we're gonna have to figure this out. But what I need the vote on is the 4 pieces of equipment that are over $40,000. One, we have to get approval from the board to buy anything over $40,000, and 2, we're gonna do an RFP process, the same with vans/buses.
And those are purchases, not finance?
Yeah, so this would all be paid with cash in the bank that we have.
And the printer's the only thing there that's a lease?
The printer is a lease. Yeah. Because that's what you do with these big printers, you lease them.
Jed?
So is the $12,000 then the value of the printer, or it's not that that's $12,000 a year to lease the printer?
No, it's actually the cost of the printer. One, there's an initial cost, and it's the cost of the printer over 5 years.
Okay, great, thank you.
Is this list something that you're hoping to accomplish by the start of school?
Yes.
Okay. That's ambitious.
That's why he's here.
It's halfway done.
That's impressive.
Nobody's here to bother me.
Any other questions?
Just,
Go ahead.
so, just a
Steve?
Thank you.
Gotta get your hand out of your pants.
You were talking about putting computers in the lab across from K208. Could you update me on the status of the computer lab, that's the engineering and design? Because we've got a bunch of computers sitting down there that are idle. Is that true?
We have a. Yeah.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, the bigger question about whether that program is continuing. And if we're going to start that up again, it doesn't make sense to do those computers. But if they're going out, is there any way we can repurpose them to do refit in that lab?
Yeah, so I think the computers that are on this are different from the engineering lab downstairs. This is for the learning lab across the street, so it's specifically laptops that we would put in a cart and people would check out. Just like they come into this lab now for, Nick brings his class up to do some of the design work that they do. Hayden brings his class up to do some things. So it's replacing the computers that are in there that are obsolete. Believe it or not, Steve, the computers that are down in the engineering lab are almost at their end of their useful life. Though there are some, we will keep them. The reason we will keep them is because those computers run the software that runs our CNC machine, and it's called VCarve, and it needs a lot of processing power. So I think those are gone, they're gonna stay there. This is just an additional, this is actually to replace the computers that are across the hall. That makes sense?
Yes. Any other questions? Nicole?
Just one other comment, because sometimes it comes up. This money is specifically earmarked and can't be spent for things outside of FF&E and capital projects. Especially when we're in sort of like negotiations or things like that, oftentimes there's a question about, is that money available for other purposes? And actually, this money isn't, because the board actually has voted to set it aside to do equipment replacement, which is another reason, as you're talking to all your compatriots about why CTE is so expensive. When it comes time to make those arguments, you can see why CTE is so expensive. And this board has done a nice job over time of putting money away. What we haven't been doing a good enough job, I think, is using the money to do the equipment replacement. So this is kind of an opportunity for us to get caught up, and to, as you've been seeing, we've also been doing the same thing with furniture, trying to replace about a third of it each year until we get caught up with that, because it was in pretty bad shape. So this big purchase will, I think, allow us to get caught up to where we should be, and then continue socking away money for the next time we need something big.
I'm assuming that you have a list of what comes next, like is wish list 2, wish list 3, like is that something you could maybe share with the board down the road?
Sure, yeah.
Great.
I will say that this is a big chunk.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good.
this is a really big chunk, and I want to take the opportunity to just say, this is a big deal for this school. Like, we're gonna spend $750,000 on new equipment. It really has an impact on the teachers and the morale. I mean, just the new furniture and it really makes a big difference. So we're excited about it, and I think the teachers have really worked hard to get it down to like what they really need.
Any other questions? So I need a motion. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items on this list that are over or even with $40,000. Is the motion in need for that, or just a clarification about what we're gonna do?
Clarification on the furniture, I didn't come to you guys with an RFP because it's individual pieces, room by room, so even though I lumped it together, it's not over 40.
Okay. Take that one off.
So what I would really need is the motion to do an RFP to work with the same committee to select and to purchase.
So moved. Motion.
So do I read this and the authorization to initiate?
What Dave said.
Put a motion forth to authorize the initiation of a formal request RFP process, select vendors, and proceed with the purchase of 4 pieces of equipment that cost 40 or more. They include diesel training engine, auto lift rack alignment, sustainable ag tractor accessories, skid steer for natural resource management.
Are you all set, Linda, with that? Thank you.
Second.
And a second from Judd. Okay, any more questions? All those in favor, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you for that,
I
sir.
got one more.
I know. Number 14 is coming up. Approval of FY26 line of credit.
When are you leaving for Florida? No.
Any minute.
So Austin and I chatted with the bank. We do this every year. We have a $1.3 million line of credit that's expiring at 6/30. We want to renew that. The reason I said up to 1.5 is because we're growing and we're, our budget has increased a lot. And I think from what we experienced last year, if we can get it to 1.5, I'd like to.
Do you have reassurance that that's going to happen, or we still have to apply?
We have to, we'll get
Right.
what we've had last year.
Okay.
But whether, we're doing an analysis with the bank
Okay.
to figure out how much, and it's a cash analysis and we just have not had time to do that, which is why I said up to a limit.
Oh, 1.5? Okay, thank you. Motion?
Question?
Go ahead.
Do we have an idea what that extra 200 might be, or do we know why we're doing it?
Well, I think, as we spend more money on payroll and, it just, the cash, what happens is, Austin knows a little bit more about it, but like by December, we're scraping at the bottom.
This is the bridge loan.
Right, and because we're paying more payroll, more expenses as our budget goes up, that gap gets a little bigger. And it's really a timing.
And just looking at the growth of our budget over the last 3 to 5 years, we had a $1 million line 3 or 5 years ago, and we haven't kept up with inflation and just the cost of operating.
And it's increasing 10% a year.
Right, so
Okay.
that helps to account for that growth that David was talking about.
And just for some context, this year for FY '25, we paid $13,100 in interest on our line of credits.
So, Dan?
Is that in line with, so we get a budget and the state's gonna give us money and
Yeah.
they sit on that money.
Yeah.
And so they're accruing interest while we're paying interest.
Sure. Right. So are the schools.
Is there somebody we should talk to about, you've got the money, give it to us now, so we don't pay interest on it. $13,000 is a lot of money. I mean, that's one of the line items in your budget.
But should we? We could.
I'll write to these guys, let's find some way to save money here.
I don't want any more eyes on anything we do from.
Any more waves either.
Yeah, rocking the boat might not be the best idea.
I know, but it's all about money. Nobody's talking about quality. It's all about money anyway, so I have no problems kicking them in the wallet.
Well, next year they're gonna talk about CTE at the legislature,
Yeah,
so.
but like I said, the schools are also paying. So what do we pay for total interest with all the schools and all the borrowing that goes on for money that they've already
Our
accrued,
little baby
taxes
budget
that they
is-
need to give to us?
Right.
So I need a motion?
I think Dave must have.
I make a motion, we all call.
We can do that next time. Okay, wait till August. Again, I need a motion.
I move to
Thank you.
approve the authorization to renew the line of credit with the National Bank of Middlebury in an amount not to exceed $1.5 million.
Thank you. Second,
Second?
Judd? All right, any more questions?
Not a question, but just a logistical
Sure.
detail as a follow-up. Our Christoph here, who's our contact at the bank, he'll send out emails to every single board member to do the digital signatures. Same process, I believe, as what happened last year, but every board member needs to sign the document.
Right, so please check your emails.
Is that gonna happen in the next 2 weeks or further out?
Yeah, so now that we have approval, we'll go back to him and then he'll, we'll communicate next steps, but soon, before the end of June.
So it's not gonna be like October.
Let me see, Steve.
Go ahead, Steve.
Steve, go ahead.
You said that we brought it right to the limit in December. I was under the impression that was due to the financial improprieties that we were trying to work through, rather than really the need for this bridge. Could you speak a little bit to that? Because I don't ever remember us being close to $1 million, except in that situation. So I'm not against going $1.5 million. I just don't want the impression to be that we always come up to $1 million. I think that might have been a special case. So.
Yeah, I think couple things that come to mind. The emergency line last year was due to improprieties, Steve, as you mentioned, and really just not staying on top of cash flow the way that we should have. And I think, as David mentioned, we are doing a cash flow analysis with the bank. There is a likelihood that we may not need the full 1.5, and that'll come out in the analysis that we do with the Bank of Middlebury. This is just allowing for, if the analysis does come through and we do need that full amount, it allows us to get up to that limit. Otherwise, Otherwise, we'll just renew it at the same rate as it was last year, 1.3. And just, again,
Okay,
just
yeah.
based on inflation, we're losing on that ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, it all sounds reasonable, I just don't wanna leave the impression that we use that all the time and all the way up to $1 million. Because I think that $13,000 in interest was an anomaly, not what we normally spend to cover that short-term gap.
So we have a motion on the floor. Any other questions regarding the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, David. Superintendent's report.
Just reminding the board that I have vacation tomorrow and Monday, and then I will be gone 2 weeks in July, the 3rd through the 18th, and 1 week at the very end of July through August, July 28th through August 1st. We have a rotating cast of characters who will be the manager on duty. David will be here, Wendy will be here, Austin will be here. So there will be always someone here to help the board if you need anything during those times. And I will be available mostly by email. There will only be a couple of days that I'm not available, like when we're someplace that doesn't have cell service. Other than that, I can respond to board messages as well.
Any other questions about that? Business managers report.
Yeah, on the topic of reminders, I think we need to get some signups on the books for the next few months and for the rest of the fiscal year. So I sent out an email, I think it was earlier this week or last week, and if you could just put your name down for at least a couple slots, that would really help us out. Big thanks to those of you who show up pretty routinely, and we just need to get more for the rest of the year. And then just as far as updates and what we're working through, obviously Cameron is a great asset in addition to the team, and I can't say enough how excited we are to have him on board. David could speak to this as well. He's been just a really quick study. He understands accounting, he understands finance, and he's got a really great attitude and approach to working with us as a team, and I think we're looking to really grow and expand and build on his skills and interests, and I think the future is bright for the business office. This position has been vacant for a while, as you know, and so it'll help stabilize and just build a really great foundation moving forward. So I'm pleased to report on that. For what we've been working through the last few weeks since our last board meeting, I've really been focused on closing out the books with payroll and setting up the next fiscal year. There's been a lot of transitions between fiscal years that we still have to work through. A number of the accounts that came over from our last conversion didn't go as well, and so we're kind of re-engineering or fine-tuning that setup so that next year is clean moving forward. A lot of great progress on the audit. Again, I want to say a huge thank you to David for really pushing that across the finish line. The big push at the end was really that fixed asset inventory list and getting that updated. And I know that's required a lot of work, and we finally got closure on that, and so now we have a draft in hand, which is great. And then just annual insurance renewals. We're going through the process of getting new fleet registrations for our cars and unemployment insurance renewals and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of communication with Visbit and our underwriters to get the new school year off the ground. And that's really it. Like I said, I've been in a payroll tunnel and learning a lot as we go, and excited to get fiscal year 26 off the ground in a few weeks.
It's not in the report, but the completion ceremony was fantastic. There were a few of us there. It really would have been nice to see a few more faces during that time. Parents are there, relatives and so on. It's a very, very important piece for them as families. And there was also another ceremony, a pinning ceremony for the LNAs, and I had never seen anything like that before. And I had a meeting at the hospital today with one of the parents who runs the Brandon's primary care office, and she was still in tears talking about her daughter being pinned and how exciting that was.
I just want to point that was really Stephanie Goldberg.
It was wonderful.
She's bringing a lot of those kind of things. She's got a lot of energy, and she felt like that was, and I was happy that she made it.
She went, and it really was very, I'd never seen it before, and it's still being talked about, which is really nice. Stephanie brings a lot to that program, whether you're a CNA, an LNA, and next year there's conversation about bringing EMTs and doing that piece. I got to share some of this information over at Elizabethtown. The Porter Board had a meeting with them, and they were thrilled. If you'll take the time, majority of the employees that work at Helen Porter are from New York. And we need to remember that. So I offered the evening program and said, you know, there's other opportunities for them to want to come do this. And they indicated they have an EMT program that they work with UVM. And they're looking at trying to do one in Central Vermont in the Berlin area. And they just graduated 44 EMTs out of that program. So, you know, the shared services that are going on with Porter and Elizabethtown, we send surgeons, cardiologists, 2 days a month to go over to Elizabethtown and try and share those services so that those people don't have to travel, or we can go over there and get a beautiful little hospital. I had never been over there. But just nice to see those partnerships, especially with personnel and people who live in this town, to see those things happening here. And for them to hear the numbers of people that we graduated from here. And obviously support their clinicals over at Porter Hospital. So I just wanted to share that piece. I think sometimes we forget that the circle's really big when it comes to some of the stuff we do. Operations report.
So before I go operate, I just wanted to say that I've been getting a lot of like the kudos here, but Austin is like the workhorse behind the machine, behind the scenes. And I don't know how he does what he does, and I'm glad he's doing it, not me. But he is, when he says he's in a payroll tunnel, it's true. And I mean, we're hoping that there's a light at this end of this tunnel, because, you know, starting July 1, it's a new, but I just wanted to recognize Austin, because I couldn't do what I'm doing without Austin, and he's just a critical part of the team, and it's, the lift that you're doing is huge, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And after so many years on this board, watching the comings and goings, and Linda can verify that, of other business managers that maybe didn't have it totally in the game. You know, it was difficult to tell sometimes, but, you know, I never feel that way with you. You know what the game is and you're here. Thank you.
Thanks.
So operations, summer schedule of cleaning and remodeling and throwing things away is in full speed. Throwing a lot of furniture away, which is awesome. Seems like we've got thousands of chairs for some reason that all are broken. We're doing a little moving around. We're doing some construction. We're doing some cleanup out back and at North Campus, which is and getting rid of some of the Comexes and all the trash and this and that. So things are really moving along on that, and we're just going to get better and better. Maintenance schedule. So Alan and I we have two goals this summer besides all the other stuff. One is we're creating a maintenance plan for this building. So we have a software that we purchased through a grant from Visbit. It's called Brightly Software, and it tracks all the things. So we're going to set up, schedules of when you update the fire extinguishers, schedule when you check the pressure on this thing and the hydraulics on that thing and oil that. So all of those things, Alan and I are going to sit down and start doing, and that's another just getting better and moving us closer to where we should be. So that's good. The other thing similar to that is we're the infamous, I'm going to call it, EOP, Emergency Operating Plan. That's another thing on our plate, Alan and I, this summer. We're going to be drafting we've got a plan, kind of, and we're going to be finalizing it, and then we're going to be creating a safety team meeting. We're going to engage the fire and police, We're also gonna work with ACSD to continue to develop that relationship and kind of share those resources so that we're not bringing the fire twice, we're bringing once. So that's on the plate.
David, would that include staff?
Yeah, there's staff training, there's roles for the staff, I mean, it includes the fire drills and all of that, but it really formalizes a lot of it, and roles and responsibilities.
Okay, thank you.
Cleanup around the building I mentioned, which is great. And then I just wanted to, we haven't mentioned adult ed, so since that's under my purview, I thought I would just speak to that here. You were mentioning EMT, and I'm letting Stephanie create this thing, and then I'm gonna ride that to adult ed and create an adult ed.
I've been asked about adult ed.
Right,
Thank
but
you.
I'm giving her, I'm letting her create it.
Let her go. Yes.
We've got, LNA is great, Kelly McGovern is doing a great job. She's actually, now we're doing a hybrid model where she's teaching online and those kinds of things. We're doing this summer, the only class that we're doing this summer in the building is a fast course for LNA. Our CMA, which is Certified Medical Assistant, which is taught by Jennifer Kennett. It's a CMA in phlebotomy. So phlebotomy used to be a separate class. We added the CMA and then we combined them because we realized that phlebotomy is just a subset. So that's another big thing that has happened. We're trying to get recruitment up. It's a longer program, so it's more challenging. Those are kind of the major things. I mean, I think adult ed is focusing on the medical professions now, but hopefully next year we'll have a little bit more vision and a little bit more time to grow that again.
Stephanie brought something up, which I addressed to administration over at Porter, and the silo in Burlington. When our LNAs graduated, they went to, and some of them wanted employment in the summer. The application for some departments at the hospital indicate they had to be high school graduates. Well, obviously, if you're a junior, that's not going to happen. But if you went over to Helen Porter and applied for a job, you don't need to be a high school graduate. So, you know, they all kind of went, we've never heard that. So anyway, it's a buzz over there. If you hear anything from a parent or anybody else that's concerned about that, please, you know, direct it back to Porter.
Okay.
You know, they're aware of it now, and, you know, and I'm not sure if it's regards to training. You know, LNAs obviously are gonna have a mentorship piece when they first go back to the hospital as an employee. But, you know, so if they're in med surge, for instance, it's gonna be a little more intense than if they're over here doing something else. So anyway, but I thought it was kind of an interesting collaboration.
Yeah.
And I appreciate Stephanie bringing that up.
Hey, do you think you could just touch base a little bit about some of the coordination that you're doing on kind of the 5-year plan with ACSD for some of the building infrastructure and some of that stuff, please?
It's an idea out there, and we've got some meeting schedules in the future, but we haven't really done much with that. I do know that they're in the weeds of developing their 5-year plan, and so what I hope is that we can kind of collaborate with them on that and maybe figure out how some of that is involving us with this building.
Yeah.
But then we're doing our own 5-year plan.
Yeah, I think it's great that there's some collaboration there, and I think that it's good that you guys are working on that.
Yep. They are renovating that space down there, so.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
You mean the back parking lot? That is so bad out back. I don't know if you guys have been out back, but it's so bad.
Drive it every day.
Yeah. So it's, and it's just something that we need to, it's about appearances, you know, so a lot of it.
Safety.
David, another quick question about adult ed. Is there still a welding program?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. We
Okay.
are.
Thank you. I thought so.
Yes,
Okay.
we do welding, and we
Okay.
do safety. Right now, we're doing welding, we do safety, tractor safety, we do forklift as well, just smaller. Welding has been going great. We just finished an advanced class. The other thing is we have a contract with the Vermont Department of Transportation to train their employees. That was something that's been around for a bit. They've asked us to run a class in July, so we're gonna have a 3-day class to teach welding to all the Department of Labor, Transportation folks. And Dylan is doing that.
He's gonna do
It's
that,
next week, 2 weeks from now. So,
He's a great instructor. My son loves him dearly.
yes.
He just, well, the other thing too, like, I'll give you an example, he went to the career expo that was down at the college and at Castleton and came back with all the brochures. Here, this is where you can go. And my son just lit up like a Christmas tree for the first time ever in regards to school. And he also allows him to come in once a week and practice, which is what welding's all about. And the kids love him. Anyway, thank you. Any other questions of Dave? Is your car running outside?
Almost.
Yeah.
I do have a starter that I'm gonna.
Only kidding. Next one is the update on legislative educational proposal. I think most of us got out the SBA message about they're gonna give a review tomorrow at noontime if you have time to look at that. Nicole also set a backup. You have to register for it. It's not a big deal to do it. I'm finding we are probably more informed here than most of the districts right now because we hired somebody to keep us to the Pell. And it's been a nice piece to be able to offer up at other meetings and saying, oh, well, we did this. And they're like, great. You know, it's nice that we're in the know. So again, kudos to Nicole for making that suggestion early on because I think it's paid off very well. And talking to a couple of legislators at the Porter party this weekend, celebrating the 100th anniversary of the hospital. They were really interested to know that we were really up on all of that piece and that, you know, next year CTE will be foremost in that and why. So it gave me a chance to talk about some of the other things that aren't happening over there. Ruth Hardy was there and a few other people. So. Do you want to add to that, Nicole, the update? If there was any other?
I think the board is aware that House Bill 454 passed, as did our amendment.
Yep.
So that was really exciting. If you happen to see Ruth Hardy, please say thank you for all of her efforts on our behalf. House Bill 454 is an interesting bill in the way that it's organized. It's a cascading series of events. It's if-then statements. So if the first thing doesn't happen, then nothing else happens. If the second thing doesn't happen, then nothing else happens. So the very first thing is that a committee of people come together, some legislators and some practitioners, and have to draw up to 3 sets of boundaries. And that is due, can't remember if it's December or January, but shortly,
I think it
in
was
6
December.
months. Yeah. And if that doesn't happen, no other parts of the bill happen. So the first test will be, does that boundary committee bear fruit? And I think it's going to be kind of a wait and see thing. But regardless, that first 6 months next year is the CTE push for all of the legislative work. So I will be, and I'll be asking for your help to be heavily involved in that work. So stay tuned. It's an interesting time, and we'll see what comes of it all.
I noticed that Ruth Hardy did not support that bill. She voted no on that.
No, she had a very impassioned
Yes, she did.
Statement in the Senate House about why she wasn't supporting the bill.
Yeah, I read her.
I mean, it's going to affect Addison County and
Yeah.
we're going to be one of the worst hit counties.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll still have students to send here,
Right.
you know, honestly.
Enrollment.
So the board had asked for enrollment, and this is hot off the presses. This isn't in the board packet, so those online will have to catch you up. We can give you a copy if you can stop by the office. This is as of today. Now remember that we have not had the enrollment process at the high schools yet. So this is the students who want CTE. We do not yet know what students have CTE. It looks like this. It should be in the back of your packet. If this holds, we have higher enrollment this year again, so this will be our third year in a row of higher enrollment, even though our sending schools are declining enrollment. But I can't say if it's going to yet. So by the August board meeting, obviously, we will know. But for right now, we have not yet gotten the enrollment process through. In the world of career technical education, 8 is the magic number, 8 FTE is the magic number. So for the programs that have 2 sections, like ART, for example, and ART has the performance section and the tech section, those 2 added up need to add to 8. So any program that currently has 8 or more is on solid ground. Any program that has less than 8 is not on solid ground. So those are programs that we will be watching closely as we move forward. We were very happy to see, I don't know if the board is aware of how much hard work that Dan Ahrensmeyer has been putting into recruiting for his program. Not only going to other schools, but holding clubs for middle schoolers, holding clubs for underclassmen, getting kids through on special events, taking them to competitions for drones, taking them to competitions for robots, and boy, has it paid off. We are very excited about the increased numbers in both the STEM program and the advanced manufacturing program. While it's not yet at 8, having 7 in only your second year is a very significant thing. So we're pretty excited about that. And you will see that for the first time ever, we have some wait lists right now. We have wait lists in diesel and we have wait lists in natural resource management. So that's really exciting that we have some wait lists too. We anticipate usually through the process of registration that kids will get in those classes. So I anticipate all the kids that want those classes will get them at the end of the day.
What is something like a denied, not moved for?
So sometimes a student applies and does not get accepted into a program because there are admissions requirements for the center. Sometimes it might be a behavior situation or a grade situation, or they performed poorly in a previous class or something like that. We do not take 100% of our students. I will say we take a very large majority of them, fairly close to 100, so.
So we still have slots for like 215 people?
We can hold up to, in the shop classes, we can have up to 21, and in the non-shop classes, we can have up to 26 in each section.
One thing I'd like to point out on this is that you'll notice that our second section, like construction 1, construction 2, the second section is usually lower because it requires people to sign up for the second year. So that's another challenge and dynamic in the tuition.
Right.
Yeah.
But for example, in the construction program, Nick has done a fantastic job, and his FTE is up for next year, because when you add it balances out, right? Because the 2 sections together need to equal 8. So you can see that he's got 7.5 FTE in the first year program and 3.5 FTE in the second year program, so he's good.
Any questions? Obviously, it's still moving.
Yeah, we will definitely bring this back after the registration process is complete at the home schools.
Next is lead in the water testing.
Well, let's see. So we were required to do testing for lead. We did that. We ordered 100 bottles and tested and sent them off. Sometimes some faucets you have to test twice. We had 4 that failed on the first try and 2 that failed on the second try. So diesel classroom sink, design and illustration sink, engineering classroom sink, and did I say diesel? Oh yeah, and then construction, it was the eye wash.
Eye wash.
So we did it again, and just engineering and building trades sinks failed. None of these sinks were used for drinking water. So we have 3 steps. One step is you got to do something within, I think it was 5 days. That was, we sent a letter to all parents and to all staff saying that this came back, and we remediated it by hanging up signs that said this is water's not for drinking. And then the second step is within 18 months? No, within 6 months.
6 months.
We have to test again, and we either have to replace the sink or replace the plumbing and do some more kind of real permanent fixes. And then you test again in a year, basically. So we're doing that, and I think some of that's going to happen this summer.
How often does it, could I ask that? How often does the eye wash get purged? I mean, the water probably sits there for a month.
And exactly, that's probably why your first draws are better than your second, right? Because if they haven't been used in a while, but that's part of the test, is that you go in and use it when it's not been used.
Yeah.
I will also say that Vermont is a much higher standard of lead than most places, so, we're really within targets.
And if you go look at some of the equipment in some of the far end of the building, it hasn't been changed in a long time.
Right.
So that's the other issue.
Right.
Okay. Any questions? All right. WBL Report.
So this is our first ever board update on work-based learning. I'm really excited about this. Jess has been doing a fantastic job. You met Jess Daniel, who is our new work-based learning coordinator. And this is going to be our baseline data, and we're going to work hard to get it even better every year hereafter. You're going to see some of this data appear again in August in a report that Jillian is going to come and give you about what things our students attained over the course of this year as far as IRTs, credits, college credits, and industry experiences. So you'll see a little bit of this data again, but we were excited about it, so we wanted to show you. So of all of our programs, we have 75% of our kids in those programs participating. The programs themselves participating in work-based learning. And we've already had conversations with ART, Advanced Manufacturing and Welding, and they're all planning on participating next year in work-based learning. Both Dan and Dylan were brand new to the center, so it's not a big shocker that they weren't participating this last year. And Jess is working very hard to find some partnerships for our ART kids to get out into the community. Then I thought it might be interesting just for the board to see what kind of work-based learning our kids are most interested in. So some are doing, you can see an informational interview where they go interview as if, or maybe they actually are applying for a job in the industry of their choosing. Job shadow is when they go to an industry and watch somebody in that profession do their work for a day or more, so a certain number of days. An internship, obviously, is when they go and volunteer at a more extended period of time in an industry. Paid co-op is where they're actually getting paid to do their work. And then project-based is in working on an individual project, a specific project with a work-based learning partner. So again, this is our baseline data, and we anticipate this entire circle being red for next year for you. Any questions?
Public comment, anytime. Maybe Dave has something else, I don't know.
I'm thinking,
How can we do that?
Heavy meeting for you this week.
The next piece is board reflection. We're behind, I apologize, but I was tasked with put your pedal to the metal and go for it. Joe, you're good at reflection.
Yes, it was a little bit behind schedule, but that was largely just because of David. But thank you very much for all of your information, and enjoy yourself in Florida.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Next board meeting events, obviously none in July, except for please sign Austin's request list for signatures. I refrained from putting my name down because I'm the last resort. You'll send a horse over to get me, just bring me in. But anyway, whatever's needed. But Thursday, August 21st, we will be back at it, God willing, and then everybody else returns from their vacations. That would be a great thing. I need a motion to go into executive session for pertaining to 1 VSA 313A1, topic specific, the premature general public knowledge that clearly places the public person involved in the substantial disadvantage for labor relations agreement with employees pending or probable civil litigation or prosecution if the public bodies may not be part of negotiations, basically, for support.
So
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yay, thank you.